Today I'm doing a basic video on how to pick the right shade of foundation. So if that's something that interests you, please continue watching. Now, finding the right shade of foundation can be quite challenging. I have faced it myself in the past and also currently actually, because there's so many brands, there's so many foundations. How do you find the right shade? In this video, I'm going to share the tips and tricks that I use to pick the right shade of foundation. Now, I do have a demo for this at the end, so if you just want to skip to that portion, I'm going to add the timestamp in the description box below and you can check that out and just jump to the demo section. But I would highly recommend just listening to all the tips that I'm going to share to really pick the right shade of foundation. Now, in this video, I'm not covering the different types of foundation for different skin types. So if you're interested in that, do let me know and I can make a separate video on that. Now, the most important thing when it comes to picking the right shade of foundation is to evaluate your skin. So know your skin inside out. And what exactly do I mean when I say that? Well, I'm going to break it down into steps for you guys. So pick a weekend where you don't have anywhere to go. So pick a day, Saturday morning or Sunday morning that's not too busy for you. And just completely wash off if you have any makeup on your face and cleanse your face. Then you want to moisturize your face and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes because from the rubbing and the washing motions, your skin can sometimes get red. So you don't want the redness to affect the choice of foundation. So wash your face, let it dry, apply your moisturizer and let that soak in for about 10 minutes. Next, take a comfortable chair and sit in front of a window. Now, you do not want all the blinds and curtains open and having, direct sunlight or too harsh like the afternoon sun on your face. Now, that's going to completely bleach out your face almost, so you won't be able to see the different tones in your skin. So ideally have a light white curtain or choose a time of the day when the sun is not too bright and shiny. Depending on where you live, usually the early morning time is good to look at your skin. So before 11 or noon. So once you're comfortably seated in front of a window, have a mirror large enough so that you can see your face, your neck, and also some of your chest area. And then just look at your skin. Compare the coloring of your skin on the face, compare it to the coloring on your neck and also your chest. Now, in my case, you can see in any foundation review that I do that my chest is light and so is my face and my ears. My ears do get red, as you can see here again. So I don't bother about them because I don't like putting foundation on them. But my goal with the foundation is to even out my skin tone. Now, I do have quite a bit of acne scarring still lightening up. But don't bother about those. Just find a foundation that's going to even out your skin tone and have it matching with your neck. So some people may find that their neck is darker than their face, as in my case. So my neck is darker than my face underneath the makeup, whereas others may see that their neck is lighter than their face. In either case, you want to look for the predominant color in your skin. So see what's the predominant color in your face, your neck, and your chest. Typically, for most of us, the chest is the lightest area. So if that's the case, ignore the chest, look at the neck and the face. Now, personally, I do not like bringing my foundation all the way down here. I see some people doing that. Nothing wrong with it. I just do that on special occasions such as wedding or something like that. But on a daily basis, I do not like bringing the product down. I just bring it down my jawline so that it's blended to this area, but nothing beyond that. But have a good look at your skin. See the different colors in your skin. Now, our skin is not just made up of yellow or red. It has green, it has blue, it has a lot of pink and purple and yellow and white and black and all these different colors mixed together. So, of course, you're not going to see the individual shades on your face, but do look for the predominant tones. Usually, people are either with a pink-blue undertone, which are termed as a cooler undertone, or you would see more of yellow-golden undertones, so you're termed as a warm undertone skin tone. Doesn't mean that somebody with a yellow, golden, or warm undertone will not have redness in their skin. So don't mistake that for having a cool undertone. Typically, for women of color and for Indian women, we have certain parts of our face that are darker than the rest. So usually I've seen that we have a darker forehead, we have pigmentation and darkness around our mouth, we have some redness or darkness around our nose, and some people also, especially post-pregnancy, would have pigmentation on their cheek area. So you can do two things. So if you're more of a natural makeup kind of a person, then I would suggest going in and matching your foundation to the darkest portion of your face. That way it completely evens out your skin. The areas that are light, such as the cheeks, would show lighter through the darker foundation, especially if you apply a thin layer. And the other choice for someone who wants to go natural would be to go maybe a half a shade lighter than the darkest portion of your face. And that's also usually okay for most skin tones. But if you want to be on the safer side, I would recommend getting a foundation that matches your darker portion, so your forehead and this area, if you have pigmentation there, that is. For anybody else who just likes to do makeup, you like highlighting, contouring, I would suggest getting a foundation that's an average of your lighter and your darker portions of your face. So say for example, your forehead is dark and your cheek is the lightest portion. Do the average in your head and use a shade that's in between those two tones. A common mistake I see in women of color is that they tend to match the lightest portion on their face, and what happens with that is if you have a darker neck, or if the neck matches your darker portions on your face, then it looks like the head belongs to someone else because it looks totally light and ashy and just does not go with the rest of the body. So avoid that. So when you pick a foundation that's in between shade, then you can go in with your highlight and contour and darken up the darker portions and the periphery of your face, and also highlight certain other portions of your face, such as under the eye. Now, beauty counters, especially in India, are notorious for giving you the wrong shade of foundation. So for example, I went to one of the stores, I think Shoppers Stop or something, I don't remember. I went with my mom. She wanted to buy a compact powder. That's what she prefers using. So we went to a store, we went to 3 or 4 brands, and they probably had like only 3 or 4 shades of powder, and it's not even a joke. They would start with the light or the fair shade that they have and be like, "Madam, this looks so lovely on you, you should buy this. And this shade makes you look so much fairer." So for example, they would give me something that looks similar to this shade and be like, "Oh, it's perfect for you, you look fair," and amazing. That's how they try to convince the customer, at least in India. Another thing I've seen there is that they would not even bother to put the foundation or the powder on the face. What they would do is take your arm, have a sponge loaded with that powder, then be like, "See, madam, it matches you perfectly, and that this powder will actually make you look fair," and all of that spiel. So don't fall for that. Just because you try a foundation from a certain brand does not guarantee that that particular brand may have your shade. So feel free to walk away from that. I know it's difficult. I have been in the same shoes. I had a big problem saying no, especially when I've taken up their time, but remember that it's your money. At the end of the day, it's a business for them, but you lose money and you want to buy a product that actually matches your skin tone. So practice saying no before you leave your house. Do not feel obligated just because you have tried some foundation shades from them. Just politely say that the foundation, you don't think it's a good match for you, or that you still want to think more about it and come back a later day. It's totally fine with most stores. Now moving on to the demo, I have my friend Ruchi, who is very kind enough to bare her face for this video. So here Ruchi's skin is moisturized and it's been soaking into her skin for a bit. So let's evaluate Ruchi's skin here. So as with most Indian skin tones, you can see that Ruchi has a lighter neck and chest, whereas her face has a few different tones. So she has darkness predominantly on her forehead and her eye area. She also has some discoloration on her nose and around her mouth. And then as you'll see, she also has slightly darker colors around the periphery of her face, which is very common. So if I were to pick a foundation that matches her forehead, it's going to be too dark for the rest of her face and it won't match her neck. And if I were to choose a foundation that matches her cheek area, it would look ashy on the darker portions of her face. So therefore, you want to find a shade that's in between those shades. So on this side, I'm going to swatch 3 different foundations and show you different undertones. So as you can see, this foundation has a red-brown undertone to it and is too dark for Ruchi's skin. Now the second foundation that I'm applying has the same depth as her skin tone, but now it lacks the yellowness in her skin. This is more pink tone, so this is again a wrong shade for her. Now this third foundation has the right tone, so it has yellow to it, but again the shade is a bit light for her skin tone. So from this we can see that Ruchi's foundation should have yellow tones to it. On the other side now, I'm going to swatch 3 different yellow toned foundations, varying in depth. So this first one is just a little dark for her. We could put this on her face and highlight a lot, but that's again not the ideal shade for her. Also, this shade leans more towards the peachy tone, while her skin is more yellow toned. Now the second shade that I'm applying is a nice yellow golden foundation, but it's slightly darker for Ruchi's skin tone. And then finally, this foundation that I'm applying seems to be the closest to her skin. So it has nice yellow undertone and it almost disappears into her chin area. So that's the right shade of foundation for her skin tone. And then here I'm just blending each of these 3 shades further into the skin, and that really helps us seal and decide on which shade is the best for her. And as you can see from the front here, all the shades on the right are totally wrong for her, whereas this first shade on the left is perfect for her skin. So that was the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation in the shade Cashew, and I'm just going to now apply this foundation all over her skin. Also in this video, I did not do any color correcting or anything, so it was just about using a foundation to even out her skin tone. So I've done one half of her face, and you can see that that particular shade is not as light as her cheeks. Also, it's not as dark as her forehead. It's the in-between shade that we chose. So once we have this good base, then we can always go ahead and highlight and contour later with those products. And there you have it. And that's how you create a flawless foundation or base for your makeup. And this is her skin up close. You can see that it matches perfectly with all the tones in her face. A major thank you to Ruchi for baring her skin for this video. So I hope this video was helpful in picking out the right shade of foundation. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Now foundation.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me.